2, 1.
Okay, this is the GT Smart Super Vac windscreen repair kit. Comes in a hard case and it's all fitted out. First of all, with the PPE, if you're going to do a repair, you need to be in a ventilated area or workshop. We've got the UV safety glasses here and of course our PPE gloves. Just put these on. Just to talk you through the kit, we've got the injector, the mirror, the blade and the blade holder. We've got the dark cure lamp, which is an option on the Super Vac. We've got the drill bits and a pick, seal kit, pit polish, biodegradable pit tabs, wipes, suction lube, a backup or a second UV torch for curing, and a drill. We've got options on resin, and what I'm going to do now is just do a quick repair. Just to show you what we've got here, I'll just take the lube, put that on and put that behind the damage. So we've got a star brake, or what you'd probably call a combination brake here, and I'm just going to prep it first. So within the windscreen world, you sort of do get hydrophobics on the glass, so it's important that we actually just clean the glass first, and I'm using an isopropyl wipe here. I'm just going to put my finger over the damage because I don't want any of the moisture from the isopropyl to go in there. And then I'm just going to wipe that away. Now, the second stage is just to make sure there's no water in the damage. I'm actually going to use the tool to do this. So what I'm going to do is drop it back and put a little bit of tissue in there. So it's really important when you're gluing stuff in any walk of life that you actually remove the moisture. So that's what we're going to do. So we're just going to put the seal on. There we go. I'm just going to put it over the damage. And the tissue in the cylinder will just catch any moisture. And you can see it sucking back here. So I know I've got a vacuum and I know I'm drawing moisture out. Get a little hiss. And I'm just going to push that tissue out. So any dirt or moisture will be in there. So we're now ready to go on to the actual repair. I know it's clean. I know it's prepared. I know there's no Rain-X or hydrophobics on there. Second of all, what I'm going to just do is calibrate the tool. So before you go on the glass, you need to make sure that it's calibrated. Calibrated meaning that I'm getting a vacuum. There's no point going onto the glass and there not being a vacuum. So we're ready to go. A little pop there. So I'm going to drill. Put the drill bit in. This is just a small medium sized drill burr. There's 3 speeds, but I'm only going to drill on number 1. A firm hand on the glass, so we don't want to be skidding or moving around. I've got to hit this impact here quite precisely. I'm going to count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see there's just a bit of powder created there. I'm going to go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all I've done there is I've just gone in and opened it up. We're not drilling through to the laminate or anything like that. It's just to the depth of the top of the drill bit. I'm just going to go in there now without really any pressure and just clean it out. I'm not making any more of an imprint. I'm just cleaning out. Because what we need to do is get that dust out of there, and you can just go in and pick that out as well. Give it a blow. So we're now good to put the injector on. We're clean, we're calibrated, we've opened it up, and I'm going to put the bridge on. Now the bridge is really important that you follow these steps. Make sure that the feet are down firmly so they don't come undone. We've just got an adjusting screw here for locking later. And I'm just going to put a very small amount on the end of my finger of gel. If you put too much on, it could slide around. So it's really important that you get the right amount that allows a little bit of adjustment on the glass, but not so that you're sliding around. You set the bridge up with the foot wherever you want the glass at the top, just so that any resin will run through the seals rather than onto them. So I'm going to position it, there's two little locks here. I'm going to position it so the hole is directly in the middle of these two pegs. So I'm looking directly at it. There's a little bit of gel on those suckers. You can see it's not too slippery, and I can just make an adjustment on the glass, pressing those down firmly, and I can now look down the injector and we can just see that the hole is there in the middle of the pegs. And I'm just going to use this picking tool just to confirm that. It's a great way of just lining up that you're in the middle. And actually now I've lined it up with that tool, it does just need another little adjustment. Okay, so I'm good to go. So we've got the injector, and what I'm going to do is drop this down just one coil, about there. Okay, I've taken the seal out and I'm going to load this with resin. So it will take about 5 drops. Again, do this in a ventilated area, and we're just going to fill it up to that top lip, the top inner lip. So not this lip here, it's the inner lip. So it's going to be 6 drops. So I'm just going to catch any resin that may well just come down there. Of course I've got my gloves on. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to take 6, there we go. Get the seal ready. I'll take this away now. Now if I was working outside, you wouldn't want the UV to be onto this. So you do this in the back of the van, and if you was working in a workshop it'd be okay. But you just need to be aware that if you was outside you need to cover this up. I'm going to put the seal in. It's a little bit awkward, just put the sort of the heel in first and then press down. There we go. So it will sit proud like this, and it acts as a cushion which allows it to sit on the glass perfectly because we've got a self-locking system here. Okay, so the next important thing is if you just bring the camera down here, I'm just going to turn it back anti-clockwise to push that resin up into the seal, and I will just see, and I hope the camera gets this, a little glint of the seal accepting the resin. It doesn't want to come to the top of the seal, just halfway in the seal. Now when I turn it over, that prevents it from running out. So we're now good to go. We're clean, we're calibrated, and we're loaded. I'm going to put the track in. You see this track? I'm going to put the track in there, and we're going to give it a turn to the left and lock here. We've now got an instant vacuum, so you can see as I pull this up, the bridge is solid, it's not moving around because I've not got too much lube on it. And I'm going to pull this up and I'm locking my finger on there because you can see it wants to suck back down. So what I'm doing is I'm just locking my finger here, and we're just looking for that first little lock there. So we're good to go. So what's happening is the resin is sitting over the damage, and the air is being pulled out through that resin. We're just going to leave that for 30 seconds. So one of the most important things is, if we was working outside, is this UV shield. So before you dispense, you must have your UV shield in position. It does allow us to take a look underneath and observe the repair, but the resin shouldn't be compromised in any way during the repair process. So we'll just put that out. Of course we're inside, so we don't need that, but it's just a very, very important part of the repair process. So we've had 30 seconds and I'm just going to drop this down. So that's clockwise. You can see it sinking, and I'm just getting to the point. I've not gone all the way down, just to that first coil again. Now I look in the mirror and the repair is going really well. Some are pretty instant, some can take a little bit longer, but this one seems to be going quite well. And we're going to do, I would imagine on this one, about 3 cycles. So there's, whilst you're waiting for it to happen, of course you can just leave it, or if you wanted to speed it up, you can just get the pick that we was using earlier to line up, just to come in at the side of the injector, just press on any air or cracks. I'm just going to come in here and that, there we go. Or there is another way which some people favour. Personally, I do favour this. So what I'm doing is I'm just knotting a tissue up, and I'm going to do an internal viewing of the repair. So I go into the vehicle. I went in on this occasion because I can manage it like this, and just manipulate. So we've got sort of a firm but not too hard buffer there, which will allow me to manipulate the damage. There's no need for any heat. Don't have any lighters or anything in this process. So I would say I'm at about 80% completion already. So I'm just going to reverse the cycle now. So again, holding this as I pull it, stopping it sinking. Just looking for that first click, got the first click. And then I'm just going to drop it down again. Take this away. So sometimes you can get to this second cycle like this one, and I'm looking through the damage. There's no black lines, there's no air trapped. There is a glint of a silver line, which is good. The silver line indicates the resin has run through it, but actually when they're cured off, the resin will go opaque. So I'm quite happy with all this, but just as good practice, I'm just going to repeat the cycle again. There we go. So again, just maintaining an observation of it. It's pretty quick. Some more complex brakes may take a little bit longer. Although I would probably say this was complex because it was at about 20mm, extending to 30mm with brakes. So I think we're about there now. So you may just get a glint of a little bit of a silver line, but there's no black lines. So I'm just going to leave that for another 30 seconds. And I think we're probably ready for curing. So for me, the most important part is when you're using a vacuum and pressure system, is if I was just to unlock this and pull it away, the shock of that would actually extract the resin out, which if you've been familiar with windscreen repair, you'll get black dot within the impact when you cure off. So by doing it this way, what you're doing is actually going to cure under pressure, and if you think about it, we're actually going to fix it in place before we release. So to cure it under pressure, we've got this really fast torch. So remembering that we're wearing UV resistant glasses, safety glasses, I'm not going to look at the torch, I'm just going to check it against some white paper so you can see that it's actually glowing really well and it's at its peak performance. It is rechargeable and cordless, and you'll notice that everything we have is rechargeable and cordless, the drills, the UV curing. And I'm just going to do, it's really important, 20 seconds either side of curing under pressure. And what I'm trying to do, if the camera can see this, is I'm trying to get the seal to glow. Can you see that? So I'm just timing this. It's 10 seconds. 10 seconds more. There we go. And then I'm just going to come this side. 10 seconds. So again, it's important that the seal is glowing, that we're actually hitting the seal. If we wasn't hitting the seal, then it wouldn't be actually activating the resin. So we're coming up to 20 seconds now. And I'm just going to give it one little hit through here, just 10 seconds. Again, you can see that seal is glowing. That's how we need it to be. There we go. So we've cured under pressure. So what I'm going to do is remove the mirror, put it back in the case, clean everything down. There we go. I'm just going to back this off very slightly, undo the lock, so the lock stabilises the bridge and the injector. Put some tissue there and undo. A little click to the right. Take this out, and I'm going to keep the bridge like this, the injector like this, because you can see there's some excess resin coming out. So catch that in the tissue, never on the skin. There we go. I'm going to put that in the case. The case is designed so the bridge and the injector always sit down. And there is a drip tray in there, so any residue in there will be caught in the drip tray, just whilst I deal with this. So one of the really key and most important parts of this process and this system is, I'm going to take this away. You just release it by clicking your fingers. And what you'll see is pretty unique in the windscreen trade. There's not many kits that can do this. We've got a little bit of cure going on. Can you see? Now 20 seconds turns that into like a gel. A minute would turn it rock hard. We don't want it rock hard. It's just a gel. Okay? So that is indicating to me that all those cracks that were there prior to the repair are now cured. Now, what you'll notice is I took the gel away and I've put, taken the gel, so the suction lube, sorry, and I'm now going to just wipe this resin away, which was excess on the glass. I've not mixed the suction lube with the gel. So we've just got an impact mark there now, which we're now going to cure off. So we go to the pit fill and these new biodegradable pit tabs. So we don't want the plastic. If we're all familiar probably with the plastic flying away in a windy day, these are quite heavy, but if they did fly off into the environment, they wouldn't actually probably be there for the next 50 years. They'd probably take a year to decompose. And I'm just going to put a drop of pit fill above it and let it run through. Now, I haven't got a bubble there. I've let it run through. If you did have a bubble, what you would do is just flick it out, lay the pit tab on. Don't put my finger above it directly. These incidentally are UV resistant bottles, so the nib and the bottle are fully UV resistant. So I'm going to go to the dark cure option, which is an option in the case. So you could just have the torch or you could have the dark cure. So the dark cure has an armed button, and then you turn it on. I'm going to turn it on to the glass, not to my eyes or checking anything. And I'm going to make sure that I cure through this line. It's a 40-second cure. I'll fasten it on there, and it is timed. So I'm just going to check that I'm over the cure, which we are. So it'll turn itself off in 30 seconds. It is intense. It's a quick cure. The stories of sort of 5-minute cures still going on with bulbs and things like this. This LED cure is good for sort of 20,000 hours. I am actually going to demonstrate holding it, which I recommend. Certainly if you're working on a commercial vehicle, they don't bounce very well. So if you can just ensure that you secure it with your hand while you're working. Nearly there, I think it'll be turning off. There we go, it's turned off. So pull this away. And I'm just going to scrape it away. So as a safety feature, we always use a blade holder. Just take this off. Now the thing that I noticed as a repair technician of 30 years is there's no black dot because we've cured under pressure. All the silvery lines are now gone because they've cured away. And I'm going to scrape away. You can change direction. Always have a fresh to medium fresh blade. And you'll see it'll come off quite quickly. The more pit fill you put on, the longer it will take for you to scrape. I'm just going to wipe that away. So we just come to the pit polish. Just a dab of that. There's no need to start squirting it onto the glass. And again, I've gone to the knotted process. If you remember on the inside, I went and did just a little massage with the knot. I just personally find this really well, works well. And then just polish away. So what this does is it really just put a nice finish on it, just tones it down. And what was a 30mm combination, so it was sort of a bee's wing with an extension of probably 30mm with star brakes, has come out really well. No black dot, as I mentioned. I'm going to put my glove behind it so you can see what you'd describe as a watermark. Essentially, that is good to go. It'll never spread, and a customer is really probably unlikely to notice that. If it's a sales car, it's safe. It was 30mm in the new B zone, so we can work up to 40mm as long as we've reduced it to 10mm. This is, I would suggest, probably 2mm as a pit. And that's the end of this GT Smart Super Vac windscreen repair demo. Thanks for watching.